Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. How's everybody doing? Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Kind of got laid into Substack, had some connection issues with having the wrong stream ID, but corrected that quickly, and we are back. And of course, I have the residents of, I guess it's TikTok, Facebook, Twitch, and all the others. Welcome aboard. AVQ is in the house. Michael Rudden, how you doing today? Has some shorts for me. We also have a Joe from Los Angeles, California. Welcome aboard. And John Cotter says, hello, Egberto, listening from home today. You're not flying one of those big birds today, out of the country or around the country. Great having you here, my brother, John Cotter. For those who don't know, John Cotter is the presidente of Humble Area Democrats, and he's also in Texas Progressives, Texas, or one of the others. He's on the board, making sure that we do our politics right. From the left side, that is. Anyway, we're going to have a great show for you. Paul M., welcome aboard. FemK, welcome aboard. Don, welcome aboard. Patrick Magner, how you doing, my brother? You know, we got to talk. We probably need to go get some coffee, Patrick. It's about that time. We need to go get some coffee. Let's see what else we got here. AVQ, I'm going to play. So, you know what? Since let's go ahead and see about, because there was a hearing today with ICE about, and Delia Ramirez. She's correct. She said ICE is irredeemable. She also said ICE had to be, completely destroyed and something new has to come about it. That's how a progressive talks, right? And of course, you had a middle of the road Democrat says, oh, that is kind of crazy talk. Yes, we need strong borders. Yes, we need all this stuff, right? But I tell you what, guys, let me play my brother's video here. And even though it's off subject because he brought it up, I want to talk a little bit about what ICE is causing in a little bit. But let's go ahead. Perception about cities. Let me go ahead and play Michael's first one, and then I'll go ahead and we'll move on from there. But I got quite a bit of stuff I want to show. I had interview that I had this morning that I wanted to play, but I think I'm going to hold off on that one. We have time to play that. It's the great judge that's running for county attorney, Harris County Attorney. I played it this morning for the Houston audience, so I think that was more apropos. But anyhow, let's go ahead and get to Brother Rudnin here, and then we will continue. I'm hoping this is a good one without music, Rudnin. Let's get busy. All right, here we go.
One of my favorite things is happening in the world right now. The Super Bowl is happening this week, and it is based in Santa Clara, so there's a lot of activities happening in San Francisco. And all these media members, all the people like in the NFL media, sports media from all over the world, all over the country, are all in the Bay Area, in San Francisco specifically, visiting. And it's so funny how all of them are like, God, it's so nice here. Wow, it's nice out. Look how beautiful it is. And it just shows you like how people have just spent the last 5 or 10 years just listening to the media and be like, oh, San Francisco's a war zone. When in reality, it's like genuinely one of the most amazing and beautiful cities in the entire world. And it's just, I mean, it's not one person. I have seen dozens and dozens and dozens of members of the media just gushing it up over how incredible San Francisco is and how, oh, I'm going to see Embarcadero, I'm going to see, someone talked about going to Pacifica to see the Cantina Taco Bell. Everyone is just falling in love with San Francisco, as they should be, because it's not some liberal war zone with pee and feces all over the streets. It's a gorgeous city that, like all cities, has areas that are struggling with homeless people, but every city has that. So I just think it's funny.
I like that. I like that. Hey, Michael, good one. And I think that brings us to the point that where we want to talk about the lies that people tell. And one of the reasons we are the way we are with foreigners is because we don't have a good clue. When Donald Trump say you're from S-hole countries, right? It's because people have never been to the nice part of Lagos, Nigeria, the beautiful parts of San Jose, Costa Rica, the great places in Panama City, Panama, or El Valle, Panama, or Cerro Azul, Panama, right? Because people are so unaware, all the crap that the MAGA folks speak about, people are able to take it in and create their false stories. That's an important video because of that. All those folks that thought they were going to a hellhole in San Francisco saw better. Is that Olivia Benson de Panama, mi hermana de Panama de Colón? ¿Cómo estás? I hope that's you, Olivia. Drop me a line, type in there and let me know if that's you. Bruce Pollard, how you doing, hermano? Bruce is my brother from another mother. And of course, there's Gretchen Theodorakis and Kendra Wells. Welcome aboard. Angie Decadence. I love that name, Angie Decadence, because it makes me feel like I'm eating what I'm not supposed to eat. You know what I mean? The decadence. Lisa Blair from Atlanta, Georgia is in the house. Welcome aboard. On Substack again, we got a few coming in. All right. Conseguido. Okay, Michael, there's one that you have in there that I think I want to play. And it's a one that says, para ver. It says, reasons to vote progressive. That is kind of getting my fancy. So I want to see what you brought me today as far as voting progressive, because that is where we ought to be, of course. So let me get that guy on the screen as well. And let's go ahead and para ver, get it busy. There we go.
You're
Bingo.
saying that you'd still take Trump as president even if you knew that he exploited naked little girls,
What do you mean by little girls?
minors,
How old is a minor?
under the age of 18.
Under the age of 18. So if you're asking me for president of the U.S., well, let me ask you first, just so I get a feel of where we're at. What's your standard for what you want to see from a president? What's the standard of what you want to see in terms of actionable things?
Well, I think I have many standards, but I think the right question to ask isn't about the standards, but rather about the red lines, okay? Right? I think it's very fair to hold a red line against a president, like if they're a goddamn pedophile, if they've exploited kids, so they shouldn't be running the most powerful country in the history of planet Earth. Do you agree?
Not necessarily, no. I can't agree. And I'll tell you why I can't agree. So let me ask you this. If the other person was also a pedophile, but said, I'm going to blow up the country, who are you picking in that case, between those two people?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'd pick
I'm just asking.
No, that's a good question. If you're saying that you...
That just shows you these guys have lost all their morals. Because you remember Obama, the person who was married, has only been married once. Obama, who only has one baby mama. Obama, who is a Christian who goes to church. To be honest, I'm a humanist. Obama that did everything right. Obama that made it right for Americans again to not have the Bushes and what the Bushes did, right? And this clown is going to ask about, well, what makes a minor? That is why when it comes to MAGA, they're first of all, we know that they have no character. We know that they have no morals. We know that. I mean, that is not up for debate. If you can tolerate a pedophile, you have no morals. If you can vote for Donald Trump as president, knowing that has stolen from the poor, he has not paid his bills to the people who work for him, who has stolen from charity, if you know you have a president who has pulled on women's private parts, if you know all of that, and you voted for Donald Trump, you have no morals. No two ways about it. All right? No two ways about it. You can redeem yourself. You are redeemable. I'm not going to go, I'm not going to, do what Hillary inferred and just simply say you're deplorable. You are deplorable in the instant that you voted for him, but you are redeemable. All right? But when it comes to what these guys have to say, madre mia, madre mia, madre mia. Okay, I wanted to bring that up for. I want to go back to the ICE thing a bit because there are two other subjects I want to cover. Now that ICE is in full fledged, in full count now, a lot of the people in rural areas who voted for Donald Trump because they wanted to get rid of those darn foreigners, those brown people, guess what? They are starting to regret it. And I wonder, why are they starting to regret it? Well, brothers and sisters, let me tell you why. This article from this morning, we rely, here's the article. We rely on what again? Hispanic labor. ICE raids trigger economic alarm bells in Trump state. You think? Communities in two red states that voted for President Donald Trump in the 2024 election have found themselves being unexpectedly hurt by his mass deportation agenda. The Wall Street Journal report on Monday that construction trade groups in southern Texas have been surrounding that alarm about aggressive immigration raids on work sites that are leading to serious delays of project, which is in turn raising prices for buyers and lowering profit. Things have gotten so severe, wrote the journal, that material suppliers have started laying off workers, and one concrete company filed for bankruptcy due to the drop off in sales that it blamed on immigration. Mario Guerrero, chief executive of the South Texas Building Association, said that the raids were terrorizing job sites and grinding economic activity to a halt. Wait a minute. Mario Guerrero acknowledged voting for Trump in 2024. I'm going to tell you guys about two things here. All right? Mario Guerrero has two problems. And one of the problems is one that I had as a Latino coming out of Panama, right? And that is sexism. For all my women that are listening right now on our show right now, I extricated that sexism several decades ago. Great women in this country sat me down and put me in my place. Just to let you know, it's no longer a factor, and it is so well taken care of that I don't even have much of the muscle memory left. But let's get busy here. Guerrero probably did it because he wasn't gonna vote for that woman. Right, Mr. Mario Guerrero, now that you're paying the price at your job site? But the other thing is, too many Latinos right now in this country are suffering from a disease called adjacency to something they will never be, adjacency to something that no one would accept them as. And must I say it? Adjacency to whiteness, whatever that means. To be clear, I completely believe race is a stupid thing, but in a racialized society, one must be real. And too many Latinos looking down at those other Latinos coming over and somehow believing that they are different have no problem. There's a syndrome for that. And I can't remember what the name of the syndrome is, but somebody in the chat's going to remind me. That creates that behavior. But El Señor Mario Guerrero, he's paying the price for his vote. Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia, welcome aboard. He's paying his price for his vote, but it continues. They're basically taking everyone in there working, whether they have proper documentation or not. So on all his places, ICE, the people he voted for, came in and just raided his place, whether they were citizens or not. They took them. Luis Rodriguez, a manager at a tile supplier called Materiales El Valle, confirmed that to the journal that immigration enforcement agents have started targeting all immigrants in the area, whereas in the past they would only detain specific people for whom they had an arrest warrant. With workers afraid to come to work, Rodriguez said he started trying to recruit employees at local community colleges where he has offered classes on installing tiles. Crickets, crickets. That's how many people took him on the offer. Nadie, niet. It's something we've been talking about for a long time. Americans don't want to do this job that great workers from the south of the border want to do, are great at it, and are skilled at doing it. But I always point out, racism and prejudice is expensive. Racism and prejudice will bankrupt many people. Racism and prejudice, I tell you what, folks, it hurts the racists more than it hurts the rest. It is so important for you to figure it out. Think about what you've done to healthcare racists. Think about why we don't have healthcare today. Racism. Think about why you don't have childcare today. Racism. Because not to let those other people that you have been lied to tell you that, they're going to abuse it. No, no, no. The people that use it the most aren't those others. It is your cousin, your auntie, and others that are using it most. But the plutocracy, because they want to pay less taxes, the plutocracy, because they want to have you the boot on your neck and you don't even know it, they fool you into hating others. They don't hate the others. Donald Trump and Oprah Winfrey, I can guarantee you, are good friends. They won't come out in public, but I guarantee you, P. Diddy and all of them in that class are good buddies. You see, we are the only fools who make pigmentation an issue, and it is used to control us all. Psycho, folks, psycho. Tenemos que aprender esta cosa. You know why we got to learn this stuff? Y mis latinos tienen que aprender esto. The adjacency is going to do nada, niet. So far, he said nobody's coming forward to take the jobs at the college. Of course not. Of course not. A Monday report in the New York Times similarly found that Trump's mass deportation policies have rocked the tiny town of Wilder, Idaho. Hear this one, which is still reeling from a federal raid that took place last year at a racetrack frequented by local immigrant communities. As a result, 75 immigrants living in Wilder, just over 4% of its total population, have so far been what? Deported. Wilder resident David Lincoln told the Times that the raid nearly destroyed the community, and he said that it could have devastating impact on the town's agricultural economy once the planting season starts. You see, the planting season have not gone through an entire ice cycle yet, right? So they are going to see their first ICE cycle after this mass deportation has taken effect, and now we're all going to pay the price. We're all going to pay the price because when you go to the stores, there'll be shortage of lettuce and all that other good stuff. Think about it. Think about it. Michael, I see that short. How long is a short? Let me know how long it is before I put it up. It is amazing, and it's something that we better grab a hold of and understand. But moving along to the other subject that I wanted to carry is a friend of mine. Now that she's become New Jersey Congresswoman, I'm probably gonna have to go through her agents to get to her. But finally, the race has been called, and Analilia Mejia is now the Congresswoman out of New Jersey 11. And you guys saw that interview that I did with Analilia. Analilia is actually her name. Y'all saw that interview I did with Analilia there. Let me see if I can find the article on her on him going ahead. Let me see. It looks like I'm gonna have to do it in this form. And Lilia, what's her last name? Mejia. Let's see if I can pull up that article. Okay, Ana Lilia Mejia, para ver si está aquí, conceding the race. Here we go. Aquí lo tenemos. Conceding the New Jersey race, Malinowski applauds progressive winner Mejia in inspiring so many voters. I want to point out something, guys, and this is important. Thank you for that, John Carter. Thank you for that. Listen, guys, check this out. Former Representative Tom Malinowski on Tuesday conceded the 2026 Democratic primary race to Representative New Jersey 11 Congressional District to progressive challenger Ana Lilia Mejia. Nobody knew her name in that district hardly 6 weeks ago. And simply going door to door with the progressive values that we support. With progressive values. What are we going to do for cost? What are we going to do for homes? Just listen to the interview that I did with Ana Lilia and you see what she stands for. And there's something that we've been talking about for a very long time, guys. We've been talking about this for a very long time. People don't believe all the crap you hear from the administration about holding your tongue, about not saying the real things that you are going to do for your community, right? You got to go out there and tell them what you are all about. Let me go ahead and show you for those who haven't seen it yet. This is an interview that I did with Ana Lilia a few months ago. But there's a part that I would like to. Well, it's too long for me to go out and find it. But there's a part in it where let's see if this is it.
And a Supreme Court that rules against.
Wait, here we go.
From the beginning, even despite all the hurdles. But it is when we act in unison. It is when we organize that magical things happen. Here's the other thing I would say to your folks, why this moment matters in particular. When we look at the history of this nation and moments in which Black and brown people have gained governing power, let's say right after the Civil War and Reconstruction when you have over 2,000 Black men, once Black men are given the vote, over 2,000 Black men get elected into office.
Not only federal, but state as well. Yes.
What do we get? Public education. We get investments in our communities. We get bargaining power for farmers or for the formerly enslaved. And how is that governing power met? It is met by resistance, by a clapback that takes shape in three key ways. Violence, systemic disenfranchisement, or machinations, and a Supreme Court that rules against the people.
The undemocratic Supreme Court, because we know that the Supreme Court is the only part of our government that isn't a democracy.
So you know what I'm about to say, right?
Let me finish it.
Well, let's take a moment and consider where we're at right now. We have state-sanctioned violence.
Right.
We have a Supreme Court that has been taken over.
Yes.
And that is actively complicit in systematically disenfranchising the black and brown people and our political power. And you see it over and over and over again. It's not just Reconstruction and now. Think about what happened after the Civil Rights Movement. The same thing. When our communities lift up their voice, act in unison, and work on behalf of our collective interests. And this isn't about black, brown, white.
Well, you know, what is funny is the following. When things go right for BIPOCs,
it goes right for everybody.
Because the people included in there are those poor people, poor white folks in Appalachia and all, because nobody cares about them but us.
Say it twice. When we pay attention to folks on the margin, we uplift all communities. And here's the thing, the people who are on the margins are also the margin of victory.
You know, imagine that, right? Imagine that.
So remember that, progressives, the people who are on the margins are our margin of victory. So those folks in West Virginia, don't forget them folks in Appalachia. You get to them. They may give you a hard time. You get to them. For those folks in rural America, I know what a lot of you think. You get to them. That's the margin of victory. Not all of them, but the pieces that you can get, that's the margin of victory. And you know what? I can tell you all, Ana Lilia Mejia proves it. How? She did it. She did it. Nobody expected even as she got the endorsement of Bernie, she got the endorsement of AOC, but what she did is she stayed true to the message. She stayed true to the message. Now, there are some folks that are going to say the following. Well, AIPAC used a lot of money against Malinowski or whatever his name is, right? They didn't think he could possibly lose. So they wanted to beat him up some. But you know, the people that voted for her have no interest in what AIPAC has to put out. What we saw in New York with Mam Danny, what we saw in Texas with Remet, what we saw in Louisiana with what's her name? Rodriguez. I can't remember her name, who just won plus 17 Trump district. What we saw. No, AIPAC did not back Mejia. If Mejia is actually a pro-Palestinian, very anti-right-wing Netanyahu. Come on now, Lee Grant, read your stuff correctly. So anyhow, so what we have to say here, folks, is don't follow the lead of the establishment. The way we are going to blast through 2026 is in every primary, and we got primaries starting here in Texas on May 3rd. Of course, pre-vote is before May 3rd. My brother Cotter can probably tell me when the early voting starts. But March 3rd is when we have our Texas primaries. Early primaries, which means you don't get a chance to develop a lot of candidates stuff yet. So you make sure and go into that vote and completely make sure that progressives are the ones who get your vote. Progressives are the ones who get your vote because they are the ones who people are going to see as the agents of change. And what they're looking for is they believed the lies of Donald Trump. They believed it. those what that needed an excuse or something to believe, they believe Trump. We're going to go for all of the bad brown people. That's who we're going to get rid of. But the brown people that you need to do your work will still be around. Nah, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. So, folks, you've got your running orders. You got your running orders. All right, I'm going to play one more from our brother here, and then we got to get to the other videos that I have from yesterday's program. Let's see if I can find Michael Rudnin's piece on racism and healthcare, because I think that's a good thing to talk about. Here we go. Let me see if I get
Racism.
It. All right, let's do it. All right, Michael, you did a great job today, man. You know, you're a great producer, Michael. Look, we're going to name Michael the executive producer of Politics Done Right, because he came across some great videos today, man. Let's go ahead and do this one. Let me put this and cover my face on this one. Bingo, and we go now. Oh, that's it. There we go.
Is a huge reason we don't have universal health care in America. Racist white people, especially in the South, worked for over a century to make sure health care is hard for black people to get. And their biggest spokesperson was a man from Germany named Frederick Ludwig Hoffman. He worked for one of America's largest insurance companies, and he wrote a book championing scientific racism that was used to argue against a single-payer healthcare system. His 1896 book, Race Traits and Tendencies of the American Negro, claimed providing healthcare to black people would be disastrous for both races, and that for black people, gradual extinction is only a question of time. He concluded that easy conditions of life and a liberal charity are among the most destructive influences affecting the lower races, since by such methods the weak and incapable are permitted to increase and multiply, while the struggle of the more able is increased in severity. Then, when Teddy Roosevelt's endorsement of social insurance was gaining traction in 1915, Hoffman stepped in to oppose it. For 4 years, from 1916 to 1920, the insurance company he worked for, which had obvious financial interest in opposing government-run health insurance, paid to send him across the U.S. to media events and congressional hearings to share his racist arguments against a national healthcare system. And it worked. The idea has never gained enough traction in state legislatures or the U.S. Congress since. Hoffman's racist theories even continue to influence policies long after he died. Some insurance companies still charged higher premiums to black people all the way up until 1984. If not for scientific racism, the U.S. might have joined the rest of the developed world with a national healthcare system in the early 20th century. Instead, we're stuck with a system that puts profits over people and treats healthcare like a commodity and not a human right. Racism.
All right, I need to add something to that, okay? Because when I speak about racism, many a times I speak with it relative to capitalism. And I would always tell folks capitalism is dependent on racism, and people don't understand it. I want you to see what she didn't say, but was very easy to infer. And that is, the insurance companies didn't want the government to control healthcare, right? In other words, and that's the most logical thing to do. What intelligence does it take to pay a bill? Not much. So insurance companies act as a middle person and take all your money. They will take at least 20-30% of your money, and they still do it today. So they don't want to lose that money being a middle person. So what is the most effective deterrence to having the government take over healthcare? The most effective deterrent to that is to send around a marketer pushing racism. You see how the capitalist insurance company needed a sure thing to ensure that people won't support something that was good for them. And they use racism as that instrument. And it is still being used today, right? If you take a look at everything behind DEI, and there's a new subscriber, a new supporter of the program that is supposed to be on with me sometime, and we are going to discuss this, because he doesn't believe, he thinks that we harp too much on the effects of racism in our economic system, and the necessity of it, and how we use people. We use the fears of people in this capitalist society. And it is a discussion that I am anxious, I'm just waiting to have, so that we can show that, first of all, like I tell you, racism is a stupid thing. But in a racialized society that the plutocracy needs to have to remain in power, it is something that must be discussed. All right. I had 3 callers yesterday, not this morning, yesterday morning, and I wasn't able to produce to clip the 3 things, but I thought it was good. It was 3 callers that those segments I think is worth listening to. And ironically, it had to do with race and what the president did with the monkeys and Obama. And also, well, I'll tell you what, let me just play them. I'm gonna play them mostly one after the other, are pretty close to each other. This is from yesterday morning, a caller. On Intact, how you doing, my brother?
Good, Egberto. How about yourself?
I am doing great, man.
You know, ever since the MAGA thing came along, I've been trying to figure out what the heck does MAGA mean? Make America Great. Well,
again,
when was that point? Again, yes, excuse me.
Yeah, no, but let me just say this, Tag. I'm so glad you said that, my brother, because, that shows the selflessness, the selfishness and lack of empathy and ignorance of the MAGA movement, right? Because for white working men of a certain class, and notice I even separated that, white working men at a certain class, leave it to beaver type household, they were kings. They were living la vida loca, good life. But everybody else lived to serve. White poor men lived to serve. White women lived to serve. Black people lived to serve. Chinese, everybody else lived to serve. That is Make America Great. Let's go back there. Let's go back there. Let's look, Tag. It's so important for people to really know that, one of the reasons why, you know what, let me shut up, let you finish saying your piece, because I want to add to that. Go ahead, Tag.
Yeah, it finally dawned on me this morning when America was great for Donald Trump, what he admires and aspires for our country. And those were the days of J. Edgar Hoover, Senator McCarthy, and Roy Cohn.
Yes.
That was a time America was great for Donald Trump. I mean, what do people think that they're admiring when they want to put a trio like that or have a government based on a trio like that? It's ludicrous. It pushes Christianity right out. It pushes minorities right out. I mean, it's a time of violence and graft, and a time when, like you were saying, white people rule the world, and I don't think any of us want to go back to those days.
I don't.
Think people should reevaluate the MAGA standing. So that's what I had to say. Thanks.
But thank you, Tag. But let me say, because Tag, you said something. You said when white people rule the world. No. You see, that is what allow white supremacy, and that is what allow people to vote against your interests. All people. And this is what I mean. First of all, for all of you first tuning in, I believe race is a stupid thing. Please, when I make my commentary, but when you live in a racialized society, you have to work through those parameters. So that said, the idea is to make a select few people be something that others can aspire to. And if they believe they can aspire to that, they will enforce even the evil of the small amount of people controlling said behavior, said policies. What do I mean by that? Notice what I said before. The only people that had it all from the massive lands, if you go to West Texas and see who owns it and how they got it, the millions of acres of land, if you go all over and see how it came to pass, it's a select few white men. Select few. The rest of my white men, brothers, not so much. All women, all other what they call races, not so much. And the thing about it is, but the expectation is by dividing people and showing a particular race what you can aspire to be, even though you will never get there, you can in fact create white supremacy, and you can control for a period of time. But it breaks up
it breaks up when and again, this is what capitalism needs. It breaks up at that point where it starts to eat itself, and that is where we are in the capitalist world right now. But anyhow, thank you, Tag, for giving me the opportunity to say that as well, and for what you've just said. All right.
Yeah, thank you, Egberto. You have a great day.
You too, brother.
All right, and this one here is from one of my. I love this guy. This guy is about 93 years old. He's in great shape. We kind of disagree on Medicare Advantage, but he's a great guy. And he's, again, 90 something years old. I love him to death. He calls the show every single morning. And he always has something good to say. But check this one out. Let's go to Jimmy. Come on in, Jimmy.
Egberto, the most shocking thing that happened over the weekend was that President Trump sending out this racist video showing Barack and Michelle Obama as apes is horrible. He said he did nothing wrong, and Trump is not going to apologize for doing that. I think it's really shocking and disgusting that we have a racist in the White House.
Jimmy, first of all, you are right to take offense to that. You're right to say the guy should apologize or whatever. But, and I'm going to say something shocking. It didn't, when I saw the picture and I saw what he did, for me, it was just like a meh, look, I have to say this without anybody taking it as advertising. I wrote a book called Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man. I kept my smile. Okay. And the reason I did that, right, is look, I'm over being influenced by racism. All right. You have people that have been in this studio with me when people call in and have people call me the N-word and all of that. And I sit and they are red-faced and shocked. And my response is, after the person is doing what they're doing, is I would say, are you having a bad day? I would ask the person that. Are you having a bad day? Tell me what's wrong. How can I help you? Because you see, to my black brothers and sisters, look, if you don't do this and can't do this, please don't hit me up for this. But I find that is not my problem. Donald Trump put in, and I think that's probably why the Obamas haven't even responded. At least I don't even think they need to respond, right? It is like, that's a problem with those people who think that kind of a way. I know I'm not an ape. I know I'm not dumb. I know I'm not an N-word, and I wish I could say the word but on FCC stuff, I don't know where I may get in trouble. I'm not any of that. So when people do that, my thing is like, okay, what's wrong? I don't give the power of those. I don't give those images and those articulations, those things any power. So I would hear people call all kinds of stuff, and I'm like, oh, I guess the person having a bad day, because I know who I am, and it don't matter to me. So I think, look, I respect those who make a big issue out of it, but for me, it's a meh. What do you expect out of this man? What do you expect out?
Yeah, Barack, Michelle Obama do not need to respond. This is all on Trump. He should apologize. He should have never said it. It's disgusting, and we have a racist in the White House, and that's not good. But
yeah, absolutely. But you're right.
Yeah, that's my buddy Jimmy. Calls every day. Now this one here is, who is this one? I think this one is Bruce. Let's see. And we had a little talk as well, sort of on similar issues. Let's play this one, and then we'll continue with the directionality of the show. Here we go. I think since Bruce is on, this is a 10-minute video. So let me get to Bruce, and then I do the video. Come on in, Bruce. You're on, Bruce.
Good morning, Egberto. Yeah, good morning. You made a good point about not being bothered by names. People only get upset if they think people will believe the name they're being called, or if they down deep thinking they believe it. They might as well. I told somebody one time when I was being called a name, I laughed at it. You could be calling me a cantaloupe. It's no different than calling me a son of a blankety blank.
Yes.
Call me a son of a blankety blank. I had a friend, his last name was Lopez. We were all kids playing basketball one day, and one of his buddies started picking on him and said, "I bet you eat Mexican food." And he goes, "Hey, I'm Mexican. If I eat a hamburger, I'm eating Mexican food. Everything I eat is Mexican food." And we all turned and laughed at the guy that was picking on him, and the guy that was picking on him turned all red and didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
In closing, I'm going to say the No Kings protest proved another version of MAGA is most Americans got aware. But anyway, I'm going to get off the phone. I thought I'd give you that little tidbit.
I like that. Most Americans got aware. I like that. I'm probably going to try to remember it and use it on my show today. I don't know. Who knows? I'm on in an hour on WBAI, so I may actually use it there. But anyhow, here's a joke. Here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. And I wish I could. I wish I could get more people to absorb that and do what you just said, Bruce. Names. Don't give them power by allowing them to have a name that can destroy your day. I remember one time my daughter came home from school and she was a bit perturbed, and it was because somebody called her a name. And I've been trying to impart in her, is that who you are? No. Is that the kind? No. So I guess they weren't speaking to you. If that wasn't, they're not speaking to you. So if somebody calls me the N word, or somebody calls me whatever the hell they call me, I guess they're not addressing me. So why should I really sit back and get upset or anything? Because I know it's not me, right? So I think the way to disengage folks, to take their power away, they have power if they know they can call you something and that it's going to destroy your day. They've accomplished the job. They have power over you if you allow that to affect you. When you learn to not internalize somebody else's problems, somebody else's deficiency, a person who calls you the N word or the C word or all these things with hate, right? That is an inadequate person, right? That is a person with problems. It's not you. And immediately you should put a mirror on that. And that hurts them more than it doesn't hurt you than it could possibly be if you decided to make that have an effect. And you remember that. If they are calling you out by something and you say, no, you must be looking in a mirror, that is much more powerful than having that have an effect on you. So if somebody calls me a particular name, many times I'll say, man, you must be looking in a mirror. And that then offends them to no, because it reflects right back onto them. So please, and to those who are called names, if you could develop that other logical way of thinking, I think we could get somewhere. And all these things would just kind of fall away. Absolutely. So folks, remember that, right? The strength, power, you know how I tell you, I give you how children react, right? Children act from the hip. They don't psychoanalyze things. They just react. You say something, they react. You see some football players, it's near the end of the game. They're winning. And somebody commits a personal foul because somebody say, you idiot. A lot of times they're goading them into something. And then the clown reacts to it, right? Gets a personal foul, loses the game, right? Now, if you handle everything strategically, right? That other person is in trouble. So somebody calls you the C word, the N word, or whatever. Are you one of that? Are you that? No. Reflect it right back. And that has so much more power than anything else. You know, it is amazing that some of our leaders haven't promote that, because I think many a times we would have gone much further in life. Yeah, I give you a joke about your mama, Astedion. I remember it, and I think this maybe came from one of my Panamanian teachers. When these two guys got into a fight, and what was it they fought about? One guy said, "Your mama," in Spanish, "Tu mama," right? And the guys, they get into a fight, and the principal comes up. "Why are you guys fighting?" The guy said, "He said, your mama." The professor said, or the principal said, "What did he say about your mother?" "He said, your mama." "Yeah, but what did he say about it?" I thought that was, in those days, I thought that was funny. But the principal was trying to make a point. It's words. Don't let words give you or take away your power. Don't let words do that to you. And that is what I've learned. And that's one of the reasons as well that I can talk to anybody, right? Is as I'm talking and as they're saying something that could be extraordinarily stupid or extraordinarily offensive, I can sit down and wait for them to complete their narrative. And then I can question their narrative in a very, very organized fashion. So tell me exactly, why do you think X, Y, and Z? Mess them up? A lot of, I mean, look, a lot of this stuff that I say here, folks, I put into action and, actually got somewhere with it again, but it's painstakingly slow on a one-on-one basis. But if more and more of us are doing this on a one-on-one basis, eventually these changes occur, right? Eventually these changes occur. Anyway, we're at 55. Anybody want to call in and complain or say a belief, not belief, whatever? 281-823-7747. I would love to hear from one of you, two of you. Una vez más lo voy a repetir, 281-823-7747. One more time, 281-823-7747. 281-823-7747. Anyway, I have, please go ahead to the Substack and listen to this great interview from, especially if you're here in Harris County. I'll play it. I played it this morning on KPFT 90.1 FM. I would love for you to go ahead and if you are here in Harris County, please be sure to go and let me pull her up right now. Her name is Judge Audrey Lawton Evans. She is running for county lawyer. What is it? County attorney. Here we go. I have them both. Check that out. She's running for county attorney. Like I said, that is for the Houston area. So I played it this morning on our KPFT 90.1 FM show. All right. Anybody want to call in? We have about 3 minutes. That number is 281-823-7747. Judge Evans will be a great Harris County attorney from John Cotter, the president of Humboldt Area Democrat. Thank you for chiming in on that, Senor Cotter. Okay, still, una vez más voy a repetir. You know what I don't get? I guess it's because it's radio, right? I am on air at 6 every morning, and I get calls and calls and calls and calls, right? But here or I guess it's because of the platform, we don't get too many calls here on the live show here. I don't know why. I guess people just want to type. So that's why I read what you have to type as well. All right, folks, I'm going to give the number one more time, 281-823-7747. And what I want to do is invite all of you to become paid subscribers of Politics Done Right, which allows us to continue doing this work. Remember, the work is not just only what we do online. The work is what we do out in the field. As you can see, take a look at some of the work we did with the students that were out there protesting with our indivisible Kingwood, with what we do in Houston and the trips that we take around the country. I think it's 2 or 3 times a year, specifically to Netroots Nation, where we speak to a whole lot of that largest progressive gathering in the country. All the articles that's written every day, a lot of work, books that are written, all of this for the progressive movement to keep our space filled with the progressive message, because they have people that they pay a lot of money to put out the progressive message. We have to have enough people doing that as well. I see I have a call here. Who do I have the honor of speaking with?
Hello, Egberto. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi. I'm listening to your live broadcast. I'm a little confused because I know there's a time lag. Anyway, I'm not very good at discussing, but I wanted to say really quickly on the subject of the artificial intelligence that they tried to pass a bill preventing the states. I mean, they tried to include that in their legislation, preventing the states from
regulating,
making their own legislation. Yeah, I guess you heard about this, but it was blocked. Some people got in there. Yeah. So I'm very proud to be, as a New Yorker, New York State is the first, and to my knowledge, the only state which has passed the first regulations regulating artificial intelligence.
I am glad.
That's all I have to say.
Well, before you go, I'm glad they blocked it. But let me tell you, I am going to be given, this one is going to be a long soliloquy, because I want to tie AI, ICE, and many other subjects together. Because believe it or not, there's a correlation between AI, ICE, the concentration camps that Trump is building, and much more. And I want to tie that whole narrative to give a possible scenario, because of what I think is going to be the reaction to how capitalism handles AI. So be waiting for that one, okay?
Yes, thank you very much.
You have a wonderful day, sir. You too. Bye-bye. But yes, so before I go, our time is up. But I am putting together. I want to get it a bit more organized. How we can tie AI, ICE, Trump's concentration camps, and much more employment together. We'll talk about it then. But anyhow, look, guys. First of all, please get the rest of the show at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. And you can also sign up there to become a paid subscriber, which we need a whole lot more. We need about 480 more, I think, is what we need. Well, with the dropping and doing, let's call it about 500 more that we need, because, you get attrition and that sort of stuff. So please, 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 go ahead and become a paid subscriber if you have the ability to do so. We need to support independent media, especially when you see things happening to Washington Post that was purposefully destroyed by its owner, or being destroyed by its owner, Jeff Bezos. Anyway, folks, love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
All of our country's problems, from polarization to ignorance on domestic and international issues to a complete misunderstanding of our economic and healthcare systems, are a direct result of a derelict mainstream media that too often bend over backwards to support corporate or bought politicians' wants, as opposed to the people's needs for real information to make their lives better. Independent media is the only solution to inform truthfully and factually. Why? Because our loyalties are to you, the ones who fund us with small dollar contributions and subscriptions. Please consider supporting our independent media platforms by subscribing to our Egberto Off the Record newsletter at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Again, that is politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. It's an investment that pays incalculable dividends.